And is Micheál Martin going?
I spoke to Micheál Martin earlier. He hasn't received an invitation.
I am disappointed to hear that some people are going to boycott the event. I think that is regrettable.
To put to you, though, what Charlie Flanagan has said today, and I have his statement here, it's not a celebration. It's an acknowledgement of the historical importance of both the DMP and the RIC, and is in no sense a commemoration of the Black and Tans Auxiliaries.
You have Leo Varadkar saying, well, 10 years ago it wasn't fashionable or right to commemorate the soldiers, the Irish soldiers who fought in World War I and World War II.
I remember, 10, 15 years ago it was very controversial to commemorate the deaths of soldiers in World War I. We now all accept, or almost everyone accepts.
And the Tipperary player, Mick Hogan, were murdered in cold blood by the same forces. This event has become known as Bloody Sunday.
Later on that afternoon, as everyone knows, the Black and Tans under General Mills went to Croke Park and shot dead 14 people. Seven were shot dead on the day. 5 subsequently died of their wounds. Joseph Traynor had escaped over the railway wall, but from the railway line, the British shot him. My grandfather and his brothers were in their house in Sackville Gardens and went over the railway wall and brought him back up into the house, and he subsequently bled to death on our kitchen table.
How bravely you faced one with your 16-pounder gun, and you frightened them damn natives.
And another 2 died later on. One of the 5 who died from his wounds was a young boy called Joseph Traynor. Joseph Traynor was just a young lad, Gaelic football player, out for a day watching the dogs against Tipperary, and was shot dead.
Jim O'Callaghan's here, the Fianna Fáil Justice spokesperson. You are not going either to this event.
Well, I'm not, but can I say that I think commemoration needs to be dealt with sensitively and maturely, and I respect John Bruton's tradition, and I respect his decision if John is going to go to the event.
When civilians approach, shout, hands up. Should the order not be obeyed, shoot, and shoot with effect. If any persons approaching you carry their hands in their pockets, or are in any way suspicious looking, shoot them down. You may make mistakes occasionally, and innocent persons may be shot, but you're bound to get the right person sometimes. The more you shoot, the better I will like you. And I assure you that no policeman will get in trouble for shooting any man, and I guarantee your names will not be given at the inquest.
When you look at the events carried out by the RIC, which included the Black and Tans and the auxiliaries, and in effect what the RIC was doing at the time was trying to suppress and prevent the democratic wishes of the Irish people, which was manifest in the 1918 general election. Like, we talk about huge general election victories in England, but when you look at what happened in Ireland in 1918, the party of De Valera and Collins won 73 of the 101 seats. There was a huge mandate from the Irish people for an Irish republic. And then the military forces were used by the British state to oppose that and to prevent that.
And not just in the War of Independence, the RIC going back to the land war, driving people, like the arm of the British state, clearing land, forcing people onto ships to go across to America.
It is right and proper to remember Irish people, soldiers who died in the First World War, and I think the same thing really applies to police officers.
Charlie Flanagan says we should be mature enough to be able to mark all of these people and the role they played in Irish history.